Hi guys. The new part about the ant is already with you, and I'm waiting for a like under the video. Enjoy your viewing. I was standing right in front of a giant pedestal. My thoughts were filled with strange things. What is it? Where is it from here? The pedestal stood right next to the cliff, in which the skeleton of a dragon towered. It's a strange sight, it's obviously not for nothing. The rat and the raven were arguing behind my back, but I couldn't hear their voices very well. What happened to the boss? Rat asked thoughtfully, looking at me peering at the pedestal. He doesn't pay any attention to us, no matter how much we call him. Raven cast a contemptuous glance in his direction. And then, shaking his head, he said, "Idiot. Can't you see that this place is part of something bigger?" Looking at his interlocutor and examining his plump stomach, he decided to add, "You sat in your house and ate all day. And now you can't even realize what's going on." There was a short pause, during which you could see how angry the rats were. "Gas me fat one more time, and I'll knock all the feathers out of you." Their argument lasted for some time. I didn't hear much, and I didn't really get into it. What could be interesting in a dispute between a house rat and a skinny raven? Another thing is that the book was floating on a pedestal. At first it seemed to me quite ordinary. The cover was unremarkable, and the thickness did not inspire fear. Everything about her seemed perfectly normal, except for one detail. In the center of the book, where the title is usually located, there was a huge red stone circled in gold. He beckoned to me. It even seemed to me that I had fallen into hypnosis. My head was filled with interest and the desire to pick up the book. Did I dig up the Ring of Omnipotence? Haha. I think it will be interesting. I think I even said it out loud. Without wasting any time, I jumped onto the pedestal and began to climb it like I was a climber. I never thought I could do this. Although what's there, now I'm an ant, and for them this is the norm. Phew, even though I cling to the walls so easily, in fact, it still takes effort to crawl. With grief in half, I crawled to the top. The book hovered just a jump away, right in front of me. It's a strange feeling, it's like I'm attracted to her. Is this normal? Spit? Without further thought, I jumped straight to her, spreading my paws, I flew to my desire. Haha. This treasure is mine now. I shouted and even felt light at heart. I take it. I shouted, but when my hand touched the book, suddenly, it opened, as if by magic. A bright light was pouring out of her. That's all I saw while I was flying down from the pedestal. Yes, apparently its creator would never have thought that an ant would touch this relic. Such thoughts were spinning in my head while I was flying. And here is the first impact on the ground. The landing is not soft. I rolled head over heels on the ground, simultaneously making sounds of pain with each blow. Ah. Oh. Ugh. At the same time, the book that illuminated the whole room with light released a person into the wild. An old man in a bright white robe, with milk gray hair that descended almost to the ground, appeared to our eyes. His snowy beard descended almost to his waist. Leaning on a staff with a pale white crystal, he floated in the air. Looking at him, the first thing that came to my mind was the thought of whether it was Gandalf by the hour. But no, all my suspicions were dispelled. The old man loudly introduced himself. "I, the conjurer Fuluoin, this is the forbidden land of the sealed dragon. Who invaded this place?" A magical aura surrounded him, it could even be seen in the air, it gave his words strength. After stating this, the old man froze for a moment. Glancing to one side of the room, then to the other, stroking his beard, he sighed. "Ah. What the? Hello? Did someone activate the protection system?" After looking around again, he summed up. "No one?" He was clearly looking for the intruder. "Hello." He shouted even louder than before. "Come out. Stop hiding. I know you're still here. And I'll find you anyway. I'll get mad if you don't come out right now." Continuing to peer into all corners of the room, he added. "Me. I'm really angry." Meanwhile, I was passed out in the arms of my subordinates. Examining me, the thoughtful raven asked. "Boss, are you alright? Get together, boss," added a rat holding me. After a couple of minutes I came to my senses, and the first thing I saw was the ass of this damn old man. He had been crawling on the floor for some time in the hope of finding the intruder. "Come out. Don't hide. I can see you already," he was saying. A terrible sight, I could not even imagine that I would ever see such a picture. However, gathering all the courage in my fist, I got up and shouted loudly. "Hey old man. Did you attack me from that book?" And? Almost instantly, the old man was on his feet and turned his head to me. "Who is it? Who is that there?" Seeing no one, he was taken aback. "Glitches or something?" He asked aloud and was about to return to the pedestal, but I called out to him. Hey. What are you looking at there? I'm here. The old man finally lowered his eyes. But his face betrayed all his frustration. He said. A bug? Is the bug talking? Suddenly, he burst into tears and wiping his tears with his sleeve, he spoke. I know I'm old. But I didn't think it was that much. I started hearing voices. He whimpered. But I decided to interrupt his self-flagellation. Hey. Old man. Stop crying. What are you whining about? I'm the one who got hurt, actually. The old man wouldn't stop whimpering, no matter how hard I tried. But I did not abandon the hope of bringing him to reason. Looking at him as if he was distraught, I repeated. Hey. Old man. I'm talking to you. Have you forgotten how to speak humanly? Whimper. I hear it again. What the hell? Stop. At one point he glanced at me. Hey. Wait. Am I not speaking a human language? And you say? I'm not crazy. Spreading my hands, I began to shout. No, you're not fucking crazy. Now spit it out, did you hit me for nothing? The old man's face seemed numb. I'm actually quite old. Could a little bug like you talk to me a little more politely? This angered me even more. Speak a little more courteously? And who will be more polite to me? I'm not some kind of bug. I am the king of ants. And look at my wound. How are you going to make amends? I asked in all seriousness. The old man just blinked in surprise. Not fully understanding what was going on, he asked. Make amends? Okay. What do you want? Let me think. Putting my paw to my chin, my gaze arbitrarily fell on the book that remained hanging on the pedestal. Pointing at her, I said. This? I want that book. Give it to me and so be it, I ask you. A book? The old man looked at me in surprise and then at the object on the table. And then, smiling, almost through laughter, he said. Excellent. Take it if you can. The old man's thoughts. Ha. He could have asked for anything, but he decided to ask her. That book is no joke. She's enchanted. He can't just take her. Grabbing the book from the table, he carefully handed it straight into my paws. This is a monsterpedia, a real divine artifact. You definitely have a nose for such things, little ant. But taking a divine artifact is not so easy. After listening to him, I just grinned. Ha. Just a divine artifact? I'm able to get a bunch more of these. The old man grinned back. Oh, what an ambitious little ant. Get results first, and then chat. Put a mark on this book. He said, handing it to me. Just look at this. Okay, I'll use the blood. Collecting the remnants of blood from my shell, I put an imprint on the page of the magic book. And after a moment, she absorbed it, leaving only an empty space. Nothing seemed to have happened. However, after a couple of seconds, the book shone again. As if collecting all the information, a spot of magic circled over the floating book and then moved straight into me. Flying right into my forehead, it formed a stone in my forehead, just like the one on the cover of the book. She immediately fell to the ground. Apparently all the magic has passed to me? How is that? I asked in surprise. Did I do it? The old man seemed even more surprised. He even opened his mouth in surprise. How? How did it happen? What happened? This artifact can only belong to a person. And no one else. Something's wrong. He said loudly. Bug, bring me the monsterpedia. I need to check something. No way. I answered, covering the crystal in my forehead with my paws. Do you want to break your promise? The old man thought about it. Sorry. He said suddenly. I was rude, but this book can only be used by spellcasters. And if you take away such a powerful memory, it will be a huge loss for all mankind. Why don't you take something else instead? The old man was polite and courteous, he even extended his hand to me, hoping that I would accept it. But I was not a finger maid. Get lost. I said. Do you think I'm a fool? Only in your dreams. Spellcasters right? A big loss? I can become a magician myself this night. You don't have to worry about me. Oh. The old man sighed heavily again and thought. His convolutions moved as if alive, and I could almost hear the grinding of gears in his head. And finally he said. If you recognize me as your master, then I will teach you. You? I said in surprise. It seemed impossible, I'm an ant, what kind of magician am I? You? I asked. Are you crazy? After these words, the old man almost fainted. And then he said menacingly. When I was alive, I had the rank of a demigod. Of course I can teach even an ant like you. I was surprised. What kind of demigod? When I was told about the classes of magicians, I did not hear about any demigods. Grandfather just smiled maliciously. Of course, this is much higher than the 10th level. The video was how he was filled with self-admiration. Oh, well. I said. You must be pretty damn good. It was a genuine surprise because I had no idea that there was someone above the 10th level. Haha. The old man laughed. Of course, I was pretty damn strong. Kneeling down, I began to ask, "Oh dear master, please take me Zheng Lan as your disciple." Meanwhile, in my head I had only thoughts about one more step towards achieving my goal. The old man was smiling contentedly, rubbing his beard, he said. Well, I never would have thought that I would have a student one day. He looked very pleased, as if he had just had a hearty meal. And then I asked, "Master, when can you start teaching me?" This question really worried me. "I'm an ant, damn it." "Excellent," the old man said, and laughed and waved his staff. In an instant, he shrank to my size. As if it were nothing, he changed his size without even raising an eyebrow. "We can start right now," he said. My surprise knew no bounds. He was the size of me, just like magic. Or is it more correct to say with the help of magic? It didn't matter now. Then, he looked at the raven and the rat that were sitting nearby. "Hey you two. Come here. Follow me." He commanded the three of us. Rat was clearly surprised. "How does he manage to speak the language of monsters?" he asked. But Raven realized that talking was pointless. "Never mind," he said. "Just keep up." I walked beside the old man, and they stayed a little behind us. "Master, where are we going?" I asked, hoping to get at least some answer. "You'll find out when we get there." For a while we walked along strange winding corridors. I was overwhelmed with the desire to learn more. And I couldn't resist. "Master. And how did you manage to shrink to my size? Is this some kind of magic?" The old man sighed heavily. "Oh. Okay, I'll tell you now. The fact is, to be honest, I died 1,000 years ago. During the war. Now I'm just a soul. Therefore, changing the size is not a problem for me." "What? This is not the answer I expected to hear. So he's just a soul. Master, how did you die in the war? Weren't you strong?" The old man chuckled. He liked my trait of learning new things. Haha. He laughed. "There were millions of strong heroes in my time. Death during the war was the norm for everyone." "So how did you die?" I asked. "I saw those bones that stand at the pedestal in the first room. These are the remains of a magical dragon whom I tried to lure into print. He was the cause of my death." Wow, I was surprised. Then that dragon must have been very strong. The old man was even more amused. Haha. Yes. He had a huge magic power and a solid body. He had no equal in terms of level, so I lost. I was lucky because I reached the highest level. Thanks to this, my soul and legacy have been preserved. Meanwhile, we continued to walk and talk. Until suddenly the master stopped. Okay, the conversation has already dragged on. We have arrived. The place we were going to was like an underground lake. Obviously it was not just a lake, the water in it was soaked with mana, it glowed as if it was some kind of nuclear reactor. "Master, where are we?" "This is the core of printing." The old man replied. "The seal that restrains the magical dragon. His flesh and soul form the spool." Pointing at him, he continued to speak. "You just need to take your mates and jump in there," he said, smiling. "This way you will be able to purify your souls and rebuild your essence, so you will become magical beasts." Summing up, he nodded. "Oh." I sighed. "This is a very cool master." Although I didn't understand half of what he said, I understood one thing for sure, you just need to jump into this water. Looking at my comrades, I said. "Now we can become magical beasts." The pleased raven said arrogantly. "Mouse. We just started following the boss and are already pumping. Isn't it cool?" Mouse was also clearly pleased. Naturally. After all, not everyone can become our boss. With these words, we unanimously decided to take a bath. Plopping into the pool, we felt the mana circulating around us and absorbed into the body. After sitting in the pool for a couple of minutes, I asked, "Master, will this work for sure?" The old man answered without a second's hesitation. "Ho ho. Of course it will work. If you are talented enough, it will be easy to become a magical beast of at least the first level." So we continued to absorb energy. It's been about an hour. The old man sat down on the shore, and we had as much fun as we could. I swam from side to side. The mouse and the raven fell asleep. Looking at us, the old man thought. Each of them definitely has talent. They've been there for so long, but they can still absorb energy. Suddenly, the raven woke up. Purple mana surrounded his body. It was as if she was coming out of him. And so she formed a clot and went somewhere outside the cave. At the same time, the ghosts flying by smelled the smell of mana. Oh. And who is it we have here? It smells delicious. Is it true? Sniff. Really delicious. Where does this wonderful fragrance come from? The old man sitting on the shore thought. Why are the ghosts around so excited? Did any of them begin to evolve? He looked at us. His gaze landed squarely on the raven. Ah. Probably that one. I think it will become big. Shrouded in mana, the raven began to grow. 2 horns appeared on his head, and the feathers grew and strengthened. It was no longer a raven. He became more like an eagle. Shrouded in mana, he looked very impressive. An evil ghost raven of the 1st level of the 3rd class. A magical animal that controls ghosts. In his best form, he can reach the top of the 6th level. Skills. A ghostly beak. A ghostly flame. Ghost control. Haha. Said the raven. I did it. He happily landed right next to the old man. Look, boss. I did it. I did it. I became a magical beast. Oh, yes. I said, looking at this whopper. Mega good. The mouse woke up from these sounds and plunged into the water. And a minute later he surfaced. Heck. Raven. You scared me. Haha. He laughed in response, you deserved it, there was nothing to sleep. Come on, hit me now? The mouse looked away resentfully. Well, wait and see how I'll become a magical beast and beat you upstart. The ghosts flew into the room where we were. Haha. Found it. Oh, who is that? Raven asked. The master replied. Ah, it's perfume. Bit fields and tombs are full of death energy, can generate such creatures. They must have appeared because of the ghostly energy that you radiate. Give them some Kai power. You've become an evil ghost raven. So you can easily subdue them. Like this? With these words, the raven released some mana, and the ghosts became like tame animals.